Good evening, liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob here for you with a special tropical update tonight. We have our ninth storm of the season, Tropical Storm Igor. It's located just south of the Cape Verde Islands tonight. Maximum sustained winds at 45 miles an hour, movement west at 6, very slow movement currently. And location 13.9 north, 23.9 west, if anybody's tracking this. And so here's the official forecast tracked by the National Hurricane Center. This could actually move a little farther northwest and then back to the west-northwest or west. We actually have a little area of low pressure just to the northeast of Earl, and they may kind of interact with each other. It might toss Earl a little farther north of this track here. So that'll be interesting to watch the next 24 to 48 hours to see what happens there. And that could mean a lot on intensity as well because of the ocean water temperatures. I'll show you here in a minute are actually a little cooler up in here. Latest satellite view, here we go. So you see Earl, nice banding. Most of the convection is off to the west of the center right now. A little bit of easterly shear still. We always see a lot of times we see this easterly shear when these systems come right off of Africa here as we get little bit of wind shear blowing off the continent. But as this moves farther west, it'll get into a better low shear environment, and this should slowly strengthen. Like I said, the only deterrent could be interaction with this weak low pressure to its northeast, and see how they interact the next 24 to 48 hours. And then look at this right here. Boy, we already see twisting with this turning, cyclonic turning with this, and this could be Julia right here, as this will move off the African coast in about a couple days here. And already there looks like there's low pressure associated with this one, so looks like we're going to be tracking a couple systems moving into next week, and maybe even a third system. I'm going to show you that in a second. Latest models on Igor. So here we go, and they've shifted a little north today, and it could be because of this little shift with the interaction could bump it a little northwest the next 24 hours, and then we should be west-northwest. And then again, as you know the routine, we're still in that Danielle pattern. We're still in that Earl pattern. The pattern really has not changed much, where we have, pretty strong bouts of subtropical highs, but then we also are getting these stronger troughs moving off the east coast. So really will depend. Some of the models, as you can see, have it turning east of Bermuda. Some of them then bring it a little farther west. It's going to be this kind of pattern when storms are coming off the Cape Verde like they are now. The threat is mainly for the East Coast, Canada, Bermuda. It's going to have a hard time making it all the way to Florida. Highly, highly doubt that. But that's where that threat comes in. You saw that with Danielle, and you definitely saw that with Earl. So the same thing with Igor. Where is it going to turn? Will it go a little farther west? Will it, so that's where it is now. If this does suck up more to the northwest the next 24 to 48 hours, then much less threat for the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. Right now the threat is kind of low. I mean, unless the only thing where the threat might come a little higher if that interaction with that low to its northeast and this goes on a more west path the next 24 to 40 hours, that would bring these tracks a little farther south. So again, for the islands, looking pretty good right now, but just watch that in the next 24 hours. So again, the greatest threat right now would be East Coast Canada. Again, way, way off. If it even comes near the East Coast, it's not going to be for a couple weeks. So we got time to watch that one. But I'm just telling you what the pattern's showing right now, and that would be the greatest threat right now. Intensity models, you see everybody a pretty steady intensity. A lot of them, especially the LGEM, the one I watch a lot, take this to a hurricane in about 48 to 72 hours. That's about right. Officially, I think the National Hurricane Center has this a hurricane in about 72 hours. Again, it'll depend on how far north it goes in the next 24 hours. I'll show you that. So here we go. So there's Igor right now. If it gets pulled a little farther north, look at this. Much lower water temperatures right in here. So that may halt, slow down development until it does move kind of, once we get west of 40, things start heating up again. So that's the caveat in intensity, but shear looks like it's going to be pretty low. So the only caveat in it slowing down intensity would be this. If it stays more along this warmer water track, then we could see a huge, big, close to a major hurricane back out in here because the conditions are pretty ripe. GFS, just looking at the models, this is the GFS 10 days. This is next Saturday. And here you can see this is Bermuda right here. And so right now it has Igor just east of Bermuda, and then here's Julia. It'll be interesting with this interaction. If this can get out here, if Julia does develop, which looking more likely now, and this really, goes more northeast right away, could actually strengthen this ridge in here a little bit. So we'll have to see. It could push Igor farther west, so we'll have to watch that as well. Euro model, almost the same thing, it's just that it has Igor a little farther west, because see, here's Bermuda to its north, whereas the GFS had Igor right in here. So a little farther west, and then there's Julia. And also it's starting to make some noise in the Caribbean and the Bay of Campeche as well. So again, another area to watch for. And I'm going to show you another little area in the Caribbean here in a minute here. But so here we go. So here's that trough coming off the east coast. So does it move it out to sea quickly? Does it move it farther west than Hook? That's going to be, again, just think of Danielle and Earl, and that's what we're going to be looking at with Igor. GFDL right now, again, west-northwest, and then a west-northwest move. Pretty strong hurricane, Category 4 hurricane in about 5-6 days out here. Now let's look elsewhere. You see the Caribbean. This is a little interesting feature that popped up. The National Hurricane Center so far gives us about a 10% chance, but if you look real closely, you can see a little bit of area of low pressure developing right in here. You can see a lot of these clouds pushing off the coast of Central America here. Usually when we get this, you see this outflow boundary just pushing off. It's hard to get something to develop close to Central America. We usually get a lot of dry winds blowing right off of here, and you can see where this outflow boundary is just pushing northeast right there. So it's going to have to get away from Central America in order for it to develop. But you see a little bit of twist right in here. Some of the models are starting to make some noise and bringing this system kind of out into the Caribbean, right south of Puerto Rico here. I'm going to have to watch this. Shear's pretty low, water's warm. Gaston couldn't do it. And here's the remnants bringing a drenching rain to Hispaniola and the Haiti Dominican Republic today. So I'll have to see what kind of flooding we see out of that area. They're still recovering from the earthquake. So Gaston, still nothing really developing there. But this one has a little better of a circulation with it. So I'll have to see if this sneaks up in the Caribbean and then moves farther west. So watch this system carefully the next couple days. We could see something out of this. And who knows? This could be Julia, or could it be Carl? Could we be tracking 3 systems next week? Should be interesting. And again, the shear, if this system does move into the Caribbean, we have very low shear in here. So it's looking really, really, really good there. So definitely keep an eye on that as well. So that's it for this evening. I just wanted to give you an update on Igor and everything else that's happening in the tropics. I will have another update for you guys tomorrow morning. Have a good night, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Stay tuned to liveweatherblogs.com for the latest weather developments.